Hey, good morning, students. Good morning. So today we're talking about rhythms level two. This is really getting into eighth notes and eighth rests. So just like we had whole notes and half notes and quarter notes, if we go one level further and divide quarter notes into two, then we get eighth notes, and it's the same for rests. So let's just dive right in. Um, so I just apologize for the font on this slide. It's just horrendous. I'm so sorry. It had to be this way, unfortunately. But as you can see here, we've flipped the table from the last slideshow on its head. So whole notes are now at the bottom, and then half notes and the next row up, and then quarter notes, and then we have two kinds of eighth notes. We have joined eighth notes, or an eighth note pair, at which you should be able to see. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw. I wonder if I can do this. Yes. So these are paired eighth notes, and these are two eighth note rests. You won't often see this unless these two rests are between beats. So we'll have one on the second half of one beat and then the first half of the next. Other than that, we don't usually see that too much. We'll usually see a quarter rest. And then we also have single eighth notes, which are very distinct because they have this little flag. And again, want to see if I can highlight that in some way. It's got that little flag right. Oh, Mr. Hoffman's not so great at drawing, but I hope you can see it basically right there. That's that little flag, and that's very important to notice. And notice right now that it's only the one flag, right here. Only the one flag. Any more flags than that, and we start getting to smaller notes. So just keep that in mind. All right. So when we have eighth notes in our rhythms, we are going to count them because they're partial beats. We can't count them with numbers. We don't say like 3.5 or 2.5, because like, what does that really mean? It's hard to point to a spot in a measure and go, oh yeah, that's beat 2.5. So what we use is the word and we'll represent that with a plus sign. I'm going to go ahead and get out of full screen here so I can show you this. So if it starts on the beat, every time we're going to give it the number. All right. So this first eighth note in this 4/4 measure here, take a second to remember how many beats are in this measure and what kind of note is that beat. If you're saying 4 quarter notes, then I absolutely agree with you. So we'll start with this one. And I see this as a joined eighth notes or eighth note pairs. So it's half a beat plus half a beat. So the first half will say one, and the second half, as I just mentioned, we will say and. All right, my next note's a quarter note. So I'm just going to use the number there. 2. Simple enough. The next beat, I'm seeing joined eighth notes, eighth note pairs. So it's half plus a half. And I'm going to start with the number, and then we're going to go and. And then, of course, this last beat in the measure is a quarter rest, so that's going to be the number in parentheses. So altogether, this rhythm might be counted like this: 1 and 2, 3 and you can sort of either imagine that 4, or you can say it but not clap it. So it goes on from there. For the next measure, the first beat, we have the first half is an eighth note, so that's 1. But notice that the next half of that first beat is a rest. We're going to go ahead and put that and in parentheses. We're going to put the plus sign in parentheses. And for the next beat, I'm seeing, and I'm just going to go ahead and get my drawing tool out. I am seeing much the same as our first beat. So I know that it's going to be counted the same. We're just going to change that 1 to a 2. This half note, I bet you can figure this one out, because this is very much like the homework from last time. So this half note, we're going to start on, we've just finished beat 2, so I know that the first number is going to be 3, and I know that it's that it's 2 beats because it's a half note. Again, getting my drawing tool out, half note, 2 beats, and I can tell it's a half note because it's got that empty note head in there, and it still has a stem, but there's no flag, so that's half note. I'm gonna get better at drawing arrows with this thing one day, I promise, guys. So I'm gonna go first beat, last beat, any in between. So beat 3, and then there's 2 beats, so the last beat is beat 4, and there are none in between, so we're just going to go like that. Notice here, I really want you to notice that in any case, when you have notes that are more than 1 beat and you have eighth notes, you don't count the and unless there's an eighth note. So for this half note here, you don't have to go 3 and 4 and. You just have to go 3, 4. All right. Otherwise, it gets a little too tedious. You're doing too much. All right. So let's take a look at this next measure. 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you're not sure about why that is, stop, go back a couple minutes, and review why this is 3 and why these are just 1, 2, and 4. All right, go ahead and clear that. And finally, our last measure here. I'll just move this out of the way. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's like that because first beat, last beat, any in between. Half note starts us off, so that's 2 beats. We'll go through beat 1 and through beat 2. And so that will be counted 1, 2. And then we have the half rest. I know it's a half rest because it sits above the line. And we go first beat, last beat, any in between. There are none in between, so it's just 3 and 4. And that does it for this slide. Your next slide has, I included that example from the last slide in it, but this is your worksheet. This is what you'll do. Just like before, we have these text boxes here. You should be able to type the number in. No problem. And yeah, just do your best, and please add a private comment if you have any questions. I'll be popping on to see how you're doing, and any of those questions that you have, send them my way because I am ready to help. But I will also encourage you, if you have any of those questions, as I'm just getting this ready for you, if you have any of those questions, if you think that it might be something that that you'd find an answer to in the video for Rhythms Level 1, go ahead and watch that. That is, a lot of this is practice for that stuff, and we're just adding on the eighth notes as well. So good luck, have fun with it, and thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.